everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kitty Mary and today we're going to talk about 30 ways you can save energy now that prices for power, for electricity, for heating, etc. it's all going up because we do have, in fact, an energy crisis on our hands. So I thought it could be good to use this opportunity in today's video to talk about some ways where you can lower your energy bill, where you can lower your energy consumption, both for the planet and also for your wallet. However, before I get into the tips, this video is sponsored. This video is sponsored by Skillshare, and Skillshare is a long-term partner of mine. It's an online learning community with thousands of different courses, and I've used Skillshare for anything from house maintenance and improvement to gastronomy and martial arts and exercise, which is sort of the spectrum we're working on here. And when I'm thinking about my home and how to improve and how to make sure that my house is at its top-notch best, I always focus on plants. I can't help it, that's just what I do. As such, the course I want to recommend to you today is about house plants and how to take the best care of them with the sill. I will leave the links down below if you want to go and check them out. And the first 1,000 people to click the link in my description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare Premium. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Now let's get into how to save energy. First of all, switch your energy supplier, which might be easier said than done for some people, and for other people it's literally just a phone call and an email. For me, it was simply just reaching out to a renewable energy supplier and changing up who supplied my energy. For other people and for other, if you live in an apartment, etc., it might be a little bit more difficult, but it's always great to just throw an email out there and see what your options are. Now, energy and our power grid is all connected. So even when you're relying 100% on renewable energy, that energy is mixed with fossil fuel energy in the power grid, which does mean that when something really catastrophic happens to fossil fuels, it also impacts the price and availability of renewable energy because it's all intertwined, it's all connected in the grid, which is frustrating, but it's kind of the system we've built. However, the more people that demand renewable energy, the more renewable energy will be available, so that's a really good place to start. And when we phase out fossil fuels in favor of green energy, that energy is going to become more reliable and cheaper. So it's not a bad idea to get started on that. Next thing you can do, sort of more practical, something you can start doing today, but avoid products on standby mode. Because even if something like a television is switched off but still plugged in, it might be on standby and it might still consume electricity. Actually, 10 to 15% of our energy consumption comes from standby products, and that's something we can reduce simply just by unplugging. However, if walking around unplugging every single one of your electronic devices constantly seems like a little bit of a daunting experience to have constantly, you can do something differently, and that's using smart power strips. Essentially, they will unplug your devices for you when you're not using them. So you don't have to go around doing it yourself, but you have a system in place that does that for you. Pretty cool. Next thing, and this is related to laundry, but wash full loads of laundry only. A study from Denmark finds that Danes usually wash 3.2 kilograms of clothes on average in a load. However, most machines are built for 5 to 6 kilos. So really stock it up and make sure you're washing full loads. The energy consumption of your washing machine is the same even when the load is lighter. You just have to wash more times then, hence saving energy by washing full loads. And while that's true for laundry, it's also true for dishes, so apply the same logic to your dishwasher. Overall, using a dishwasher on average will actually require less water and less energy than if you did it by hand, by the way. But of course, that is only true if you load the dishwasher completely. And now that we're talking about laundry, wash colder. This is something you can do for a lot of different textiles, not necessarily all types of textiles, but many types of clothes and textiles you're using around the home will get just as clean if you use colder water. Just as clean. Actually, many modern detergents work just as well with cold water. They are designed to be used with cold water as well. So you won't see any effect from using hot water. In reality, it just requires more energy. That is true sometimes. Switching to 30 degrees instead of 60 degrees or by washing at 20 degrees instead of 40 degrees can save you 55% of your energy consumption from your laundry. I'm speaking in Celsius, by the way, if that was not obvious. And for things like shirts or table covers or trousers, this works perfectly fine. You might want to stay at a little bit of a higher temperature, like 60-ish for underwear and towels, etc. But again, there's so many types of textiles where that won't be necessary. Also, skip the dryer. The tumbler dryer actually requires a lot of electricity and a lot of energy to keep going. And furthermore, it also deteriorates your clothes. As such, air drying is a much more energy efficient and sustainable way of drying your clothes. You can also turn off especially the hot water, but any kind of water whenever you're soaping up your hands, whenever you're shaving, whenever you're brushing your teeth. Sometimes it can become a bit of a bad habit to let the water run while you're doing other things in the bathroom, but be mindful and turn that off, especially if you're using hot water, because that can become very energy intensive very quickly. Also, this is a classic, but turn off lights you don't need. In my own home, I've actually forced myself to become accustomed to having a period during the day where it's a little bit dark, but I still don't turn on the lights. I wait a little bit longer, and it has a small impact compared to many other different things we do in our everyday lives, but it's nice to get these conscious habits under your skin for sure. And if we don't turn off the lights overall, and if that's something we have a bit hard time of forgetting, it can really add up on your energy bill. Now that was a little bit basic. This is more fun. Cover your pots and pans while you're cooking. Obviously, you will need to use energy to heat up anything in your kitchen, and you will have to use less energy to keep something warm. It's actually pretty simple, but if you've never thought about it, it wouldn't necessarily cross your mind. If you're cooking something like potatoes, not filling the pot all the way up with water, but only filling it up with water, the water that you need, just so it's covered, can also reduce the impact of that cooking experience with 30%. Because the more water that's in a pot, the more energy it will require to heat the water. So only using the amount that we need will be more energy efficient. This is the dishwasher equivalent of the tumbler dryer, but some dishwashers have a setting called dry heat, which means that it dries your dishes for you. But again, very energy intensive, and there is an alternative. Simply take out your dishes once the dishwasher has done its rotation. I don't know what this is, and let your dishes air dry or dry them off with a towel. Now, the setting on our freezer and fridge can have a huge impact on how energy intensive they are. And since it would be a little bit impractical to turn off freezer and fridges whenever we don't use them, also more energy intensive because heating it up and then cooling it down and then heating it up and cooling it down actually requires more energy than simply just keeping something at a steady pace. But we can look at the setting and the ideal temperatures for our products to make sure that they are performing at their highest capacity. The freezers should ideally be set at a -18 degrees Celsius and the fridge at 5 Celsius. Now, if you cook with recipes, you have 100% encountered the phrase preheat the oven. And for some types of dishes, it's actually pretty crucial that the oven is preheated. But for many type of dishes, it does not matter if you place the dish in a cold oven and then heat it up, or if you let that oven run for a significant amount of minutes, making it the ideal temperature and then putting it in. So you can actually skip the preheating step, and that will save you quite a lot of energy because you'll have the oven turned on for a short amount of time. So the preheating energy won't be wasted. Also, for smaller pieces of leftovers or food that you need heated really fast, it's actually much more energy efficient to use the microwave rather than heating up the oven. Now, something that will really make a huge impact in your home and on your energy consumption is your air conditioning and how much you use it. Cutting down on air conditioning time can tremendously improve your energy consumption and your energy bill. And installing a ceiling fan, opening windows, etc. might be a more energy efficient idea. That might work sometimes. Also, and this is something I'm really working on myself, but dress accordingly. Instead of changing the temperature in your home, put on layers or take layers off before you start to cool down or heat up your home. In a space right now where it's kind of cold here and I refuse to turn on the heat, so I will just sleep in a jumper if that's what it takes. Ideally, I would like to wait until it's mid-November before turning on my heat, and until then, and actually also when I turn on my heat, but I would much rather alter my outfit, put on more layers, than turning up the heat to a temperature where I can walk around my home in a tank top in the middle of the winter. That's not necessary. When you're buying new appliances, look for the Energy Star label, because products with this label are averagely much more energy efficient than products without it. They consume an average of 25% less energy and 45% less water. Also, this is an oldie but a goodie, but switch to LED lights. LED lights are so much more energy efficient than non-LED. LED bulbs actually use around 80% less energy than non-LED. That's a place where we can really save a lot. You can also install a programmable and smart thermostat, which can be adjusted or turned off when it's not in use. A smart thermostat eliminates wasteful energy, which can save you a lot of energy as well as a lot of money over time. Okay, this might be a little bit boring, but energy efficient insulation. According to energy.gov, about 20% of the energy lost during the winter is through the attic, in homes, in houses. Yeah. I don't know if I need to explain that. Anyway, investing in proper insulation, especially in your attic, is a really good idea to save a lot of money in the future. Also, speaking of insulation, but if you insulate your water heater, you can also save about 10% of its energy consumption. Yeah. Also, overall, if you're switching out your water heater, be mindful with the model that you use. Some sustainable energy efficient water heaters consume about 8% less energy, and some consume 200% less energy. So really make sure that you're making an informed decision. This is a little bit more down to earth, but in the daily life, swap baths for showers. For sure, it requires a lot less hot water and as such a lot less energy. Okay, this is something I am super bad at myself, but defrost your freezer. Whenever you have ice build up in your freezer will use more energy to conserve that ice in order for it not to melt. So if you defrost your freezer, there will be less ice for the freezer to maintain, and as such it will use a lot less energy. Studies actually find that if your freezer has 2 millimeters of ice, it uses 20% more energy. So defrost about once a month, babe. Also, stick with one big fridge rather than small fridges. Mini fridges are incredibly energy intensive, and some consumers like having them in different rooms in the house, but that requires a lot more energy than simply just having one big fridge. If you're building a house, buying a house, or improving a house, make sure you invest in energy efficient windows. Windows are actually a really big source of energy waste, but if you invest in energy efficient windows, if you are looking to improve your home, can save you between 10 and 25% on your heating bill. This is more for people in homes and not so much for people in apartments, but whenever the seasons change, stay up to date on if there are leaks in your home, drafts, anything that could be a source of energy waste, and fix it. It doesn't even require you to go out and install or buy new fancy systems. Simply just fixing the small leaks or drafts that can occur in homes normally can have a huge impact on your energy bill. Also, turn off specialized devices like towel heaters or terrace warmers, etc. And lastly, and this is pretty down to earth, but fix the leaky faucets in your home as well. If you have faucets that are leaking, fixing those leaks can actually save you quite a lot of resources. And with that, those were 30 tips on how to be more energy efficient and how to save energy and heating, etc., especially now during the winter. I hope that you guys liked this video. If you did, leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you have any other tips or any comments to some of the tips that I mentioned. I would love to hear from you guys. And also a big thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. As always, you can find the links down below to everything I've mentioned. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day and take really good care of yourselves. Until next time. Bye. Thank you so much for watching this video, and also a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys help me create green zero waste content, and I love you guys. You can find the links to my social media accounts down below and the link to my Patreon on this screen. Bye!